Hi, this is your host. I get asked all sorts of questions about toads and frogs. One of the most common ones is, why do toads look so different from frogs? But what makes these frogs special? What makes them toads? And how do they compare to other frogs? Well, it's not as crazy as it sounds. You see, in the world of herpetology, there really isn't a scientific distinction between frogs and toads. It's just that we humans have decided that certain frogs are going to be called toads. There are all sorts of frogs that we call toads, like the cane toad, the American toad, the Fowler's toad. The red-eyed tree frog is actually a toad, and my favorite, the tiny little miniature toads. Well, those are an adaptation to help them see predators coming from far away. That way they can hop out of the way before it's too late. Frogs, on the other hand, typically have rounder eyes that are less prone to bulging. Well, to answer that question, let's first talk about their skin. Toads tend to be grumpy little guys, and they show their grumpiness by being aggressive towards each other and towards us humans. Remember, next time you see a grumpy little frog with dry, warty skin and short, stubby feet, it's probably a toad. And if you see a cool little frog with smooth, moist skin and long, elegant feet, well, that's definitely a frog. They hiss and they bite, and they can even spit at you. Some species of toads even secrete a poison from their skin to help protect them from predators. Frogs, on the other hand, tend to be much more chill. They're not nearly as aggressive as toads, and they don't spit or bite much. They're also not poisonous. Toads tend to have drier, bumpier, more warty skin than frogs, which tend to have smoother, more moist skin. Now, when I say that toads have drier skin, I don't mean that they're dehydrated or anything like that. This has been a presentation. See you next time. They just adapted to live in environments where they do and have access to water all the time. And because of this adaptation, they can survive out of water for longer periods of time than most frogs. They can even survive out of water permanently if they need to. Frogs, on the other hand, are typically found near ponds, streams, or rainforests where there's lots of moisture around. They need to stay moist in order to survive. If they dry out, they die. So frogs are better adapted to life in the water or in very moist environments. Toads tend to be more drab in color, which helps them to camouflage against the dry, dead leaves on the ground where they spend a lot of their time. Frogs, on the other hand, come in a whole host of colors, from bright green to red, blue, yellow, brown, and everything in between. Their bright colors help them to blend in with the lush vegetation of their rainforest or pond habitats. Toads also tend to have shorter, more webbed feet than frogs. This helps them to walk on land without their feet getting tangled up. Frogs, with their longer, less webbed feet, are better adapted for jumping and swimming. Another difference between toads and frogs is their color. And what about those big bulging eyes that toads seem to have? Finally, one of the biggest differences between toads and frogs is their attitude. So there you go. That's what makes toads different from frogs. It's me.